Hello, everyone. In today's short video lesson, I'm going to be focusing on true, false, not given questions. And for that purpose, I have chosen this passage from Cambridge IELTS 9, The Life and Work of Marie Curie. So as with any IELTS passages, I always recommend that you have a look at the questions. So I'm going to just scroll down and we're going to find the first set of questions 1 to 6. Well, as you can see, we are dealing with a set of true, false, not given questions, 6 items in this selection. And my recommendation is that you should always read the questions first, because I strongly believe that the question is the answer. And when it comes to these types of questions, I suggest that you read 2 at a time. So let's begin without further ado. Marie Curie's husband was a joint winner of both of Marie's Nobel Prizes. So you might go over this sentence and there's nothing really striking about it, but I want you to be more specific by reading those sentences. I want you to narrow your search area down by looking for some restrictive phrases and words. So let's have a look at the first one. This part wants us to identify information about Marie Curie's husband and the fact that he was a joint winner of both of Mary's Nobel Prizes, right? So a joint winner, like both of them won that together. In this case, both of those Nobel Prizes. So that's something we got to be focusing on. The second one, Marie became interested in science when she was a child. So this is about her interest in science and the timing of that when she was a child. So that tells us a great deal about what we are looking for. Should you read further items? Well, I think the 2 for the time being would be enough. So let's just go to the passage and start reading. Since the first set of questions that we have to answer for this selection is related to true, false, not given items, as a rule of thumb, we can say that the answers that we are looking for are going to begin to appear in the first 2 paragraphs. So let's just read these 2 paragraphs very carefully. Marie Curie is probably the most famous woman scientist who has ever lived. We're skimming through this. That's about Marie. Born in Poland, that's some information about where she was born. Was a twice winner of the Nobel Prize. You remember the Nobel Prize was one of the key words. With her husband, Pierre Curie and Henry Becquerel, she was awarded the 1903 Prize for Physics. So this is the first Nobel Prize that she won, but she did not just do this on her own. She had some partners and was then sole winner. So what is the meaning of sole winner? Sole means alone or only. So from this, we can understand the first item is definitely false, because this one is saying the husband was a joint winner, while we know she won that one on her own. So the first one is false. There's enough information to prove that. Let's move on and focus on the next. Marie became interested in science when she was a child. Let's see if we can find some information about that. So here we go. She was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize. Good for her. From childhood, Marie was remarkable for her prodigious memory. So what is the meaning of prodigious? Well, it means amazing. And at the age of 16, won a gold medal on completion of her secondary education. So this is something about her background up to age 16. So that closes that part. I'm not sure if there's any more information about her childhood, but we got to just keep reading a bit further. Because her father lost his savings through bad investment, she then had to take work as a teacher. Well, this is about her later years. So this is all the information that we have. But do you see any signs of her interest in science, like when it all began? Clearly not. So from this, we can judge that we don't have enough information to prove this sentence wrong or to say it is right. Since there is insufficient information, we can say this one is not given. Okay, let's go ahead with the next two items. Marie was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. So that word is going to be paraphrased in the text by words and phrases such as due to, owing to, thanks to, or any such phrases. If we're lucky, we're going to find something similar to that. But she was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. Was that so? So we got to ask ourselves good questions to find the right answers. Number 4, Marie stopped doing research for several years when her children were born. Oh, do we have any information about this part? She stopped doing research for several years when her children were born. So here's the thing to consider. The reason I'm asking you to read the questions 2 by 2 or in groups of 2 is that the information that shows up in the passage, in IELTS passages, is going to follow a chronological order, meaning that if information related to question 3 shows up in paragraph 3, then information related to question number 4 is going to appear in that same paragraph, paragraph 3, or the paragraphs that follow that. So they're not going to change the order and create some chaotic situation for you so that you'll have to go back and forth throughout the text several times. So make sure you read 2 questions at a time so that if you come across information regarding question 4 in paragraph, let's say 3, then immediately you'll know that you got to make a decision about question number 3 based on the information you've been given up until that point. So with that in mind, let's just go back to the passage and try to just check these 2 questions. But before we do that, let us just highlight the keywords one more time. Marie was able to attend the Sorbonne because of her sister's financial contribution. So that's about how she was able to attend that university. Marie stopped doing research for several years when her children were born. So we are looking for a word, not the exact word children, but something similar to that, because we don't know if she had any children. Let's just examine. So here we are. From childhood, we read this part about Marie's childhood. Because her father lost his savings through bad investment, she then had to take work as a teacher. So by this point, she was an adult. From her earnings, she was able to finance her sister's medical studies in Paris on the understanding that Bronya would in turn later help her to get an education. So her sister basically helped her. But we are looking for a specific kind of education that she got. In 1891, this promise was fulfilled, and Marie went to Paris and began to study at the Sorbonne, the University of Paris. So all of this happened thanks to Marie's sister. Then we can decide that question number 3 is, in fact, true. That is the answer we are looking for. True. How about number 4? Well, as I said, this one should show up after the information related to this paragraph, to this statement. Marie stopped doing research for several years when her children were born. So let's see. I spotted a word just like marriage somewhere here. Okay, here we are. So she attended Sorbonne University. She often worked far into the night and lived on little more than bread and butter and tea. She came first in the examinations, and so no sign of her marriage. Oh, their marriage in 1895 marked the start of a partnership that was soon to achieve results of world significance. So the marriage was a good thing, but we are looking for the word children, and probably why she stopped working for several years because of the children. But this is not reason enough. I know many of you might say, oh, from this we can understand that the children had no effect, but we got to just find that exact keyword in the text, right? Following this, they had other achievements. Marie Curie decided to find out if the radioactivity, so no sign of her children. Let's read a bit more. So this is mostly about her academic pursuits, something about uranium and what she did. Pierre Curie devoted himself chiefly to the physical study of the new radiations. Marie Curie struggled to obtain pure radium, again, some academic pursuit. And we just read and skim through this text. Oh, here. The birth of Marie's 2 daughters in 1897 and 1904. I guess you agree with me that this counts as children. Failed to interrupt her scientific work. So failed to means couldn't. Interrupt meaning stop. So when her children were born, nothing basically happened. She continued with full force, right? And she achieved something of greater value, right? So let's move to the question and decide its fate. Okay, here we go. Marie stopped doing research for several years when her children were born. So this question is going to be considered false. And that's what we have done so far. So this one is false. I'm going to just highlight it that way. This one turned out to be true. And number 2 was not given. All right. So we've got 2 more questions here. I'm going to just leave these to you. I guess that text is accessible to you, Cambridge 9. So you can find the passage and work on these last 2 questions. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and leave us comments.